Yo, what up guys? Travic here, and today I want to talk about item rarity with the monk. Before you, I'm going to be playing a video of me going into a map. It has a breach, and I want to showcase to you just how much stuff comes out of these breaches wearing item rarity. I at first didn't realize how impactful item rarity was. I've been away for a couple days, and you guys have been messaging me telling me how insanely busted item rarity is and how do we fit it on the monk without losing too much. Now, currently in the test before you, I've managed to fit in about 100 item rarity without really sacrificing a whole lot of damage and a whole lot of survivability. You see we're roughly still 10,000 health. We still kill everything at the speed of light. Our map in itself is relatively difficult. It's a nice level 15 map with all the works. And we're able to pretty much just go through the map like we normally would without really any issues. You see too, there are tons and tons of loot coming out of this map, way more than if I wouldn't have item rarity. We even managed to hit the notorious divine orb, which is like really cool. The map in itself, you know, mapping with monk is relatively straightforward and easy, and loot is plentiful. You know, I never really thought that like adding item rarity would add so much more loot to the map, but I was quickly mistaken. Now, I don't know how long item rarity is going to be a thing. There is a world where GGG comes back from vacation and item rarity is 100% completely nerfed. I'm actually going to skip ahead to the next breach so that you guys can see the next breach in action in this map, because there was actually 3 breaches. So let's go to the next breach. There is a world indeed where item rarity gets nerfed and loot is just completely in a whole different, you know, position. I can't safely say that this will not get nerfed. I can't safely say it will get nerfed. All I know is it is currently working and it is pretty insane. And while it's insane, I plan on like taking advantage of it because like I said, I didn't know about it until you guys told me about it, and it is going completely bonkers. Now this map, you see just tons and tons of loot falling. And if we just hop on over to the end really quick, we could see the loot inside the map. There's a divine orb, 6 exalted orbs, a bunch of chaos orbs. We found tons of uniques, really good rares, tons of catalysts, all kinds of runes, extra skill gems. 151 splinters came out of this map. We got half a breach stone from one map, and it was absolutely positively bonkers. Now the character itself is progressing really well, and I'm going to add a disclaimer, and we're going to make a little chapter here, so if you missed this, it's on you. 1, I can't guarantee item rarity will not be nerfed. I can't guarantee by the time you watch this video, item rarity still works, so make sure you check. 2, item rarity is insanely powerful, and the more item rarity that you fit in, the better it will be, but the weaker overall your character may become. I haven't experimented with a whole lot of item rarity on this character. Right now I have 114%. To play the character the way that I am playing it currently, it is expensive. It is not easy. It will be a hefty investment that if you spend the time, put it together and play it, should results pending pay itself back. Should results pending. The more monsters you kill, the faster you map, the faster you progress, the more, you know, loot you'll see, the more rewards that you'll see. Now, if you want to play this variant of monk and you do not know how to get here, I have an entire archive of monk videos starting from the beginning that will slowly start to get you where you need to be. This is where I started when I got out of maps. This video right here. This is how I upgraded my first character. This is when I swapped to cold. This is how I upgraded the cold build. This is how I doubled my damage playing crit. This is how I evolved the crit build even more. This is when I realized that CI was insane and started swapping to CI. This is when I learned that meditate was completely cracked. This is the latest update before you got to this video, and today's video is going to walk you through the CI crit rarity stacking. So if you try to and don't know how to and you need some references, there's tons and tons and tons of videos that will walk you through what you need to be. This build is very much like a cake recipe. It has to all work and come together or it will fall apart and break. So if you're copying it and something falls apart and you don't know what happened, feel free to put your character into Mobalytics, put all your skill gems, put all your stuff. If you're confused and don't know what to do, we have an entire Discord with a help section where people are constantly posting their builds, what's going on. Everybody's talking to each other. We're working through people's problems and make an effort to like put your stuff together. Don't just be like, oh my God, it didn't work. I don't know why. We need some information, but we'll do our best to help you. We can't guarantee that we'll solve everybody's problems, but if you give us the opportunity, we may be able to indeed help you. But once again, I'm going to phrase, copying this build in this state as of this video is a hefty investment, pricey, and you can't really like change things because YOLO swag skibbity toilet. You know what I mean? All right. Every time I film, you want to be on camera. Hello, surprise cat. Now, this character has had some changes. First and foremost, let's talk about rarity. The way that we are stacking rarity is a couple of very interesting ways. One, I found out this chest plate existed. I didn't know this chest plate existed. I found out this chest plate existed. The rolls on it are random. You can get a rarity roll, you can get a max life roll, you can get a max mana roll, you can get a global defenses roll. The rolls on this absolutely change. And the one that we went with for this build was item, rarity, and elemental resistances. This means that every soul core that I have in will give us more item rarity, and every soul core we have in the armor will give us more resistance. So we get 40% free rarity, 40% free resistances. A lot of people using this armor are using rarity soul cores. I did not want to do that, as I wanted to maintain as much spirit as I could. I could probably play with the numbers a little bit and probably tweak it to like lose another aura and fit in more rarity, but that's not something I really want to invest too much into because I think 100 is pretty good rarity, and I don't know what's going to happen with rarity and didn't want to go down a rabbit hole and set myself up for something to be completely changed. 2, for rarity, we are using a rare ring that has a bunch of rarity on it. This ring has rarity in the prefix and rarity in the suffix. It can actually get even more rarity than it has on it right now. It has low tier rolls of rarity, and it can go even higher. This ring paired with Ingenuity, the belt from Ritual, is what's giving us all the rarity. So these 3 items are covering all of our rarity, and it's giving us everything that we need. We can indeed get rarity on the boots. I could get better boots with rarity instead of maximum mana. I can get a helmet with rarity and lose a little bit of life. I can't get rarity on the gloves. I can't get rarity on the second ring. I can get rarity on the amulet and change things up if our amulet existed. But these are all rabbit holes and lines that I don't personally want to go down. And if you go down, you'll start making your character a little bit weaker, but you can go down this route. So just keep that in mind. So that covers the rarity. 2, let's talk about overall all the gear. I'm still using the same staff that I've been using. We've narrowed it down that staves are really good with percent fizz, a flat damage type, and the third prefix, we probably want elemental attack damage, or damage, increased elemental damage with attack skills, I think it's called, or it's also known as WED. You can also get fizz flat, but you know, this is where we're at with a weapon. I am eventually going to replace this weapon and get a better weapon when something within my price point becomes available that's better. Your suffixes, you would like crit damage, crit bonus, and attack speed. Our gloves, we are still using the Hand of Wisdom in action. These gloves are insanely expensive at the moment. At the time of recording, these gloves are about 9 divs. If I take this off, they're about 8-9 divs. You can get them, they're really good. The entire build right now focuses around these gloves. If you cannot afford these gloves and you're looking for an alternative to these gloves, my YouTube does indeed have a video on it that might be able to answer some questions for you. I have a video that I worked on. It answers a lot, and I mean a lot, of monk questions, and it will be able to just hopefully give you some direction on how to use the gloves. This video right here has an entire section towards the end of it that will give you just clarity on the gloves, what to do with them, how to use them. Can I use them? Should I be using them? What can I do instead? So that's that. Our ring, just resistances and rarity and a little bit of flat fire damage to trigger our passive tree. Our helmet, energy shield, energy shield, energy shield. Critical hit chance, intelligence, and fire resistance. Our body armor, just rarity and resistances. Our amulet is energy shield, crit bonus, all attributes, fire resistance with storm charge. Storm charge gives us 40% increased elemental damage and 20% increased hit chance. Storm charge on the passive tree is located up over here. If I hold Alt, I can see the emotions or the distilled emotions required for the amulet. To do distilled emotions on your amulet, you would get the correct order of stuff, which I don't currently have the correct order because I'm out of them. You would right click these emotions, this window would pop up, you would put your amulet in the correct order, and you would see the what you want to anoint. You hit instill and it puts it on your amulet. Easy peasy. Moving along, we are using the Polcirkeln ring. This is what's giving those beautiful explosions. If you don't know much about this ring, I have videos going over this ring and explaining this ring, but because we are able to chill our enemies, we are able to explode our enemies. The main source of cold damage that we have is indeed coming from our ascendancy. We are getting majority, if not all of our cold damage from this. And I have tested and I have taken all cold damage off from everywhere else on the tree except for right here. And this has always been enough cold to trigger the ring. The ring triggers, it freezes everything. Everything explodes and shatters. Herald of Ice is the main component that is making this happen. I do not guarantee or know if Herald of Ice will not get nerfed. I assume Herald of Ice is going to get changed to not shatter the way that it shatters, but currently it shatters the way that it shatters and is an absolute beautiful effect. Our belt, Ingenuity, giving us bonuses from our rings, and our boots are these beautiful boots that have movement speed, energy shield, mana. Eventually, like I said, you can get rarity on your boots. This has fire, cold, and int. Flat stats on all of your gear, really important where you can get them because they scale your gloves to the moon, and flat stats are great. If your character is CI and you happen to drop dead and it said that you committed seppuku, check the mods on your flask, because one of the mods is probably killing you on your flask. I get that question quite often. Now, moving on over, let's actually talk about skill gems. We are indeed playing with Meditate. We are using Meditate with Arcane Temple and Second Wind. My buddy Ares told me about this, and Aerith was just like, oh, this is crazy. It's cracked. You should use it. And I was like, all right, let's put it in to try it. And it has been way too helpful and way too strong. Big shout out to him. I will include his Twitch down below. He is also playing this build and has a couple of really nifty ideas that you guys might find interesting. Our Tempest Flurry, we did manage to finally 6-link it. We are rocking in the hideout a glorious 77% crit chance with 546 crit bonus in our current setup of rarity gear with 58,000 DPS. If I take off my rarity gear and put on my non-rarity old gear, our damage goes up to 66,000 and our crit stays the same and our crit bonus stays the same, but we get more spirit this way. And with more spirit, we get fit charge infusion. When we do this, we actually lose charge infusion and a little bit of damage, but we maintain our critical strike chance, but we trade it for rarity. Our Tempest Flurry has Electrocute in it. This means that when I hit with this portion of the attack, it will electrocute. The shockwave from Charge Staff will not electrocute. This portion will electrocute. We have Rage to build us up some rage. We have Martial Tempo to give us more attack speed. We have Primal Armaments for more weapon damage, and we have Inspiration to fix our mana problems. Our Charge Staff is used by consuming a power charge. We generate power charges in this build, and we consume them for our Charge Staff. You generate power charges by freezing and electrocuting. If you don't freeze the mobs because you kill them too fast, you cannot get power charges. So if you're not getting power charges, but the entire screen is blowing up, wait till you find a rare. You can hit the rare and generate power charges. You can also drop your bell at any given point and freeze your bell, or electrocute your bell and generate charges off your bell. It is not very hard to maintain charges. Hit a bunch of mobs. If everything insta dies and you don't get charges, drop your bell, hit your bell, generate a charge, get Charge Staff. Our Charge Staff has Innovate for tons of extra lightning damage, Conduction for more chance to shock, more magnitude of shock from overcharge, and Persistence for more skill effect durations so that our bell lasts forever, our Charge Staff lasts forever. Our Tempest Bell has Leverage for more critical strike chance, Close Combat for more damage, and Overabundance for a second bell. We have Blink with Ingenuity so that we can blink all around. This has been absolutely great. You can see the blink in the top left of the screen and just how often it is off cooldown. It is an absolute fantastic skill. Highly recommend. We have Combat Frenzy for Profusion. Combat Frenzy is how we are generating all of our charges. Like I had mentioned, we generate charges when we freeze, electrocute, and pin, and we generate them with resonance on our tree. Herald of Ice is the big moneymaker right now that is generating all of the explosions. We have Cold Mastery for cold skills, Cold Infusion for extra cold damage, and we have Magnified Effect for more area of effect. If you put in Elemental Focus into your Herald of Ice, this will not make ailments, this will not chill, this will not freeze, this will not do anything, this will break your explosions. Do not use this. We have Wind Dancer for Unbreakable and Energy Barriers to help us with the stuns. You can put in Lockdown and Pin in this to give you more charges if you need them. We did put in Herald of Thunder. We actually took off Ghost Dance because our evasion rating like this is so low that Ghost Dance wasn't really doing us a whole lot. So we dropped Ghost Dance for Herald of Thunder for more damage. We have Blind, Lightning Mastery, and Maim on our Ghost Dance. And Charge Infusion, we're currently not using. This is an empty skill socket. You could put anything there that your heart desires. Moving on over to the passive tree. The passive tree is really important. This is where all of our cold damage is. We need this. This is very important. Make sure you spec into this. Sunder my enemies. This is also giving us all of our damage. Every time we crit, we just ignore all the enemy's resistances. This is very important. Make sure you have this. This is also very important. This is giving us all of our spirit from our body armor. This says every 6 evasion and 15 energy shield, or every 6 energy shield and 15 evasion, we get spirit. We can see right away, if I take off my body armor, I have 100 spirit. This is from the campaign. If your body armor is off and you don't have 100 spirit from the campaign, you missed the quest. I don't know which one you missed. It's either the Bog Witch in normal, the Bog Witch in cruel, or the King of the Mist in normal. Go back, double check, and get your spirits. They are respectively 30, 30, 40. So it is 30 from King of the Mist, 30 from the Bog Witch, and 40 from the cruel Bog Witch. And then after you put your body armor on, you can do the math on the amount of evasion and energy shield based on this node that you would need to maintain your spirit. And lastly, we take Meditate. Meditate is the skill that when I hold Q, it overcaps our energy shield. You can see it overcapping our energy shield right there. If you click on Eternal Youth, this will stop your energy shield from overflowing and overfilling. Eternal Youth works with Grim Feast. It does not work with Meditate. Okay. Moving along, our skill tree is pretty straightforward. We get attack and cast speed here, crit bonus here, evasion here, critical strike chance there, crit bonus there, critical strike chance there. If you're low on critical strike chance, swap these two nodes. If you're high on critical strike chance, you could creep the crit bonus. I'm actually even currently debating switching these myself. Over here in this wheel, we have crit chance, crit bonus, crit chance. If you have the points and you need the crit chance, you could take double crit chance here if you have the points. I'm also debating going this way to try to cap out my crit. Over here, you see we have maximum energy shield, more maximum energy shield. We have stun threshold. This entire wheel is important. This is what stops you from getting insta-killed playing CI. If you're playing CI and you're getting insta-stunned, you need to make sure that you have this entire wheel or you'll be in for a world of pain. We are triggering cold damage from our ascendancy, lightning damage from our main skill, and fire damage from our ring. We can actually always just set the bell on fire and shock the bell and freeze the bell to trigger these for extra damage. We're coming over here. We're taking this for more attack speed, more attack damage while on full life, more crit chance over here, more crit chance over here, and power charges over there. We're getting a bunch of energy shield here from our hybrid base armor. We're coming over here. We're getting a bunch of lightning damage and more lightning damage. This is giving us extra power charges and more critical strike bonus if you consume the power charge recently. We're coming down here to get more critical bonus and dexterity. This is giving us a lot of damage based from our gloves. We're coming down here and taking the whole crit wheel so that we get a bunch of critical strike chance and damage and X, Y, and Z. If you need more critical hit chance, swap this node for this node and come this way to get the critical hit chance. Up here, we're doing the same thing. We get a bunch of critical hit chance and reduce crit bonus. We're not too worried about that because we get a whole whopping amount of critical hit strike. We come over here for Chaos Inoculation. This is what's giving us that beautiful 1 life and giving us immunity to chaos damage. Because we are chaos immune, we are also poison immune. Poison is equal to chaos, but chaos is not equal to poison. So all poison damage is chaos damage, not all chaos damage is poison damage. Because we are CI, we are immune to poison and we are immune to chaos. We are also immune to bleed because in the current state of Path of Exile 2 at the time of recording, you can only bleed if and only if a mob deals damage directly to your life total. Because they can't deal damage to our life total, we are bleed immune. Coming up this way, we have a 25 in here. We have patient barrier here for a bunch of extra damage. And we have a beautiful ring here that we're going to talk about in a second. Our jewels in this build are maximum energy shield and hit chance, critical hit strike chance. These jewels are pretty much important. Each one of these jewels at 14%, 15% critical hit chance is about 2% flat crit. I have 5 of these jewels in, giving me a whopping 10% total crit. And each one of these jewels is roughly 200 life at 20% maximum energy shield. If I come into here and I look at my Tempest Flurry here, we are at 77% crit. If I take this out, we go to 74. These jewels are really, really impactful to your ability to hit crit cap or close to crit cap. They're very important. You want to get as many of them as you can. Lastly, on our tree, you'll notice this beautiful new addition. This jewel is insane. This jewel was in Path of Exile 1. It was called a Thread of Hope. And what it allows you to do is it allows you to allocate points on your tree without being connected to them. Originally, we would have come up this way in this build and gone for pure power to gain 2% increased lightning damage per 10 int. Coming up this way, you get a bunch of lightning damage to this beautiful node here. But now doing this way, we are able to get more damage, and more stun threshold. This jewel is called the Controlled Metamorphosis. This jewel is very expensive. If you come on the trade, and I will give you a link for it on trade, and you search this jewel comes up as very cheap. The thing you need to notice is the jewel that we're using is a ring size of massive. The jewels that are showcasing right away are small. If I click on this to sort by massive size, you'll notice right away that massives are about 5 divs. There's 6-7 divs, depending on the amount of elemental resistance that you roll. If you need one with a high amount of elemental resistances, you can set your thing here to be elemental resistances. You can put your min to say maximum -15, and then you'll start to see rolls that are 15. These jewels have actually dropped a ton. I bought mine, they were about 20 divs each. You can see you get a -13 for 10, a -9 for 11, a -12 for 11. These jewels actually just drop from the breach boss in tier 4, and you can actually, I originally had planned on divining this for a test, but since there are only 5 divs for massives, I'm not going to bother. You can actually come on over here to the divine orb. You can roll this and you can divine this, and it will change the ring size. So if these jewels ever do spike up in price to the moon, you can just divine them. If they were 20 divs like they were when I bought mine, I would have just divined this 4 or 5 times, hope to hit massive, and saved a bunch of money. But that's not the case right now, so I'm not going to be doing that because massives are relatively cheap. We also don't care about the minus to chaos resistance. We're chaos immune, so it doesn't even matter. We do care about the elemental resistance roll. I did manage to get a -8 roll. Like I said, I paid a whole lot for this, and it was very good, and I was able to cap my resistances with it on, so I'm pretty happy about this. I'm actually kind of overcapped. I can fix some of my stuff up a little bit. But this is giving us, like I said, pure power to give us more increased lightning damage per int. We are getting increased lightning damage and attack speed from lightning quick. We are getting 40% increased chance to shock and 5% of lightning damage as extra cold damage. We do a absolute metric ton of lightning damage. We're actually doing 3,174, so we're getting an extra 5% of that as cold. You see our cold is 807, and we're gaining over here, we're getting 3% increased life, mana, and energy shield, and gain 20% of maximum mana's additional stun threshold. Eldritch Will plus this wheel here is stopping us from getting stunned, and this is pretty much the whole build. If you have questions and it breaks, stop by the Discord. Bring your mobilytics or your whatever you're using to import your character. Put your skills in, your items in, your tree in, put everything in. Let us know the exact problem you're having. Just don't say it doesn't work. Give us the exact problem that's happening, what you need fixed, and somebody in the Discord will take a look at it and try to get you help. But otherwise, this is the whole build. I do not recommend starting this build until you were at least level 90. I do not recommend starting this build until you have all of the gear or a lot of the gear. I do not recommend going into this completely blind without really knowing what you're doing. Do not swap to this in your level 50. Do not swap to this into your level 60. Do not swap in this at level 70. Copy any of the other builds and progressions. I recommend the cold crit in the earlier stages until you can swap to CI is very powerful and very strong, but eventually you will make it to CI. If Rarity gets nerfed, if Herald of Ice gets nerfed, if the build bricks after Christmas now and New Year's when GGG comes back into the office, if it's repairable and if it's savable, we'll mess around with it and we'll try to get the monk saved and back up to speed. But if you want to see what's going on and what changes I'm making live to the character, you can stop on over by my Twitch stream. I'm live all the time, both on Twitch and YouTube. You guys can happily watch me make all the adjustments and ask questions there. But for now, friends, I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday. If you've made it this far in the video, please leave a like, hit the comment section, do all that fun jazz. It really helps the channel a lot. And if it wasn't for you guys and your insane generosity and support on all these videos, I wouldn't be here. So thank you again if you've made it this far and you've watched this video. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. But for now, friends, I'm going to get this video out to you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.